Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video. Welcome to my October wrap-up. I have never filmed like this before, like in this position, but I just want to be comfortable today. The floor is honestly the most uncomfortable place to sit in. Whenever I film wrap-ups, it always takes me a very long time, so I am filming on my bed. I also hope that the lighting is okay. I actually can't really see myself on the viewfinder. It's way too far away. But yes, I'm gonna do my October wrap-up today, and I read a total of 11 books this month. It might not seem like it's a lot compared to other months. However, I read a lot of thick books. Page count wise, I'm pretty sure I read a lot. And in terms of how many books I read on my TBR, I have 9 books on my October TBR and I read 6. I also unhauled and DNF'd 1, so I technically did not read 2. I did try to pick them up. I just wasn't in the mood for it. Hopefully we'll get it done by the end of the year. We have a lot of romantasy books this month. I don't know what was going on with me, but I was in a fantasy mode and I did not want to read anything other than fantasy. I'm going to talk about my least favorite to my most favorite, which I did last month and I think it did a really good job. So we're going to do the same thing and we're going to start off with my least favorite book. A lot of these books also have their own reading vlogs, so I'm going to link them. If you guys want to see my live reactions or maybe like current thoughts, I think you should watch the reading vlog compared to this wrap up. I'm going to try and make this quick. Anyway, my least favorite book of this month is The Silversmith by L.J. Claren. I don't remember our character names, I'm so sorry. This book is about Ari. She has been in seclusion all her life. She used to live with her family, but then her dad and her brother passed away and her mom left her and she is struggling with her life. However, one day she ends up having 4 people visit her and tell her that she is the long lost queen of her kingdom and she needs to come back to like save the kingdom. She also does not remember anything about her life from the past 17 years because she lost her memories when she smacked her head onto like a cellar floor or something. In the beginning, while I'm reading this, I honestly felt like it was an interesting book. The plot and everything, the world building, it was shrouded in mystery because our main character again has amnesia. So we don't really know what's going on. We're skirting the outside. And then we get to the halfway mark and there is an icky situation that happened between our main character and the love interest. And I wasn't vibing with that, but I thought that I should give it a chance and I continued reading on. And then by the end of the book, another icky situation came up and I decided that this book just wasn't for me. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about, you can watch the reading vlog because I think that they are minor spoilers and I do not want to spoil this book just in case you guys want to read it. I also posted a dedicated video on TikTok talking about this book that made me rate this book 1 star. I obviously will not be continuing with this series, and for the most part I also feel like this book shouldn't have been published. A lot of people like this, and on Goodreads the rating was damn high. Literally no reviews talked about those 2 main icky things that I saw from this book. Maybe it's a me thing, but I did not like this book. 1 star. Second least fave, People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. This book, you're following Miles and Prudence. Miles is a nomad. He likes to sleep around. He does not settle down. He likes to move a lot. He then one day gets called by his brother to help him with something. So he goes to the small town his brother lives in and he meets Prue, who is a girl next door who is loved by this entire town. And Prudence is struggling with her family situation because her mom has Alzheimer's. Miles meets Prue and they strike up a relationship. My main issue with this book was that Miles, who is a nomad, does not settle down, has several people, his body count is like more than 200 people. He meets Prue and he automatically, from 0 to 100, does not even think about it. He wants to be with Prue. He wants to settle down. He wants to build a life with her in this small town and not leave her side. Falls in love with her immediately. There was no sort of character growth. Was a playboy and a womanizer to him being a suddenly family man. That I think is my main issue, is that there is literally no show of him moving forward from his past traumas because of his family situation, dealing with that and then figuring out the romance with Prue. In fact, he was quite avoidant actually. The only reason why I'm giving this 2 stars is because I loved Prue's family and I also loved Miles' family. I loved his brother and his little sister. I also really like Prue's dad. This book had really good Alzheimer's rep in a sense where they talked about the disease, not like it's a debilitating thing in their family. And I also love the way Prue's dad appealed to the situation. So overall, I did like the families. I did not like Prue and Miles. It just felt very weird that Miles went into the relationship so quickly, without a doubt, in his mind, you know? So yeah, 2 stars. Next up is actually a Kindle read that I just recently finished, and it's The Wolf King by Lauren Powell Freeman. I decided to rate this book 2.5 stars. This book is also a very, very hyped book talk book, and I really don't want to step on people's toes when I say this, but I did not enjoy this book because this book really felt like a Wattpad werewolf novel that hasn't been edited and refined at all. Why did I rate this 2.5? Let's talk about it. The Wolf King is about an alpha werewolf imprisoned in this one settlement, and he ends up capturing the princess when he escapes, kidnaps her to his world. Werewolves and humans in this world are fighting with each other. They don't like each other. In the beginning, it was interesting. I think this book hooked me from the get-go, and it did not have any sort of like filler information whatsoever. The princess in this book, what is her name? I just read this book. Aurora is said to be a very demure, kind of hides her feelings, has been bred and born to be a pawn in this game of alliances, and she just wants freedom. She just wants to be let out into the world, and the way she's portrayed versus her actions in the book just does not equalize each other. I just felt like there could have been more maybe of her past shown, or maybe more a character build-up. Also felt like Callum, who is our alpha werewolf, he was a little bit way too trusting of our princess, because these two races have been fighting each other their whole lives and they have killed a lot of their kin. So I think Callum trusted the princess way too much for somebody who is enemies with each other and is supposed to be hating each other's race. I felt like Callum just did not have a backbone in that sense. There is another character called Blake, because this book technically is a love triangle. Blake, however, I really liked. Blake is my favorite character, and the only reason why I will be continuing with the series is because I want to get to know Blake a lot more. Blake really embodied the mysterious, quiet, cold, kind of cunning, sarcastic, dry type of character, and I loved it. He didn't really put his trust in the princess. He had his doubts, but he also knows that she is a little bit different than other people. I did guess whatever happened at the end. It was pretty predictable in my opinion. I felt like by the end of it, the romance between Callum and Aurora was a little bit icky. I honestly felt like the romance came out of nowhere actually, so I don't know. But however, so I say that it's very mediocre, it's very mid. I did feel like the story flowed very quickly. It was very bingeable. I finished this in less than 24 hours, I want to say. The plot just moved. The pacing was quick, and I didn't feel bored at all with the book, which I think a lot of people like. So if you're a beginner to romantasy books, if you don't really want a lot of information going on, if you really like just quick and easy and fast, I think you would like The Wolf King. But I guess if you want something a lot more detailed, I don't think you would like this book, just because there really wasn't much with the writing. And I will be continuing the series. Hopefully the second and third books will be a lot better, because I do want to see more of Blake. I feel like in this book Blake didn't really appear. It was a lot of Callum and the princess. That's The Wolf King. Next up we have Feathers So Vicious by Liv Xander. Also, my battery is about to die, so if suddenly it dies, I apologize. But this is the first book of the Court of Ravens duology. It is a completed duology, so the second book is out. And in this book, you are following Galantia. Oh my gosh, for a while, I almost forgot her name. Galantia is, again, a princess in this world. Also has been secluded all her life, kind of hidden in the dark. She is said to be married off to this one prince in some other kingdom for like an alliance, and she ends up getting kidnapped by a group of raven shifters. In this world, raven shifters and humans are fighting each other. This is also a very dark fantasy romance, so the themes in this book, please check trigger warnings. I did not do that, and I honestly kind of a little bit regretted it. Wow, this was really difficult to get through. One thing I want to say is I rated this 3 stars. There are 3 characters in this book. It's not a love triangle. It's a why choose MFM. I did like our characters. I did like the world. I felt like the world building was done really well, because they spread out the information in snippets, so you don't feel like it's a very heavy book to read. I also enjoyed the Raven Shifters and how they made it very unique to the book. One thing that made this rating a little bit lower, and this is wholly like my fault, my problem, was that this book was really dark and there were a lot of scenes I could not get through. It was just very uncomfortable, and I was frustrated by the information because it was just way too dark for me. If you like a dark romance and you are okay with dark themes, I do think you would like this book. I do think you would fall in love with this book. If you love a mean male main character, you will love this book. Because honestly, everything else was great. It was just too dark for me. I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I read the trigger warnings, and I readied myself for that. So unfortunately, reading experience is not the best. I do recommend it if you like a dark romance and if you also like a white shoes, because I think this one did it very, very well. Moving on. Oh, battery exhausted. Change the batteries, so let's get into this. Let's continue. From now onwards, all of the ratings for this book is going to be 4 stars and above. So even though it is low on the scale, it does not mean I hate it. I actually love it. Moving on, Heavenly Bodies by Imani Eriu. This one is about Elara and Enzo. Elara is a princess who was prophesied to fall in love with a star and then kill the star. Stars in this book are gods, and she is a princess of the kingdom of night, I think, and she escapes and finds refuge in the kingdom of light, and she meets Enzo, who is Prince Lorenzo, who is the prince of the kingdom of light. I read this book when it was indie pub, so I honestly went into this kind of expecting to understand and know the entire plot line of this book, but apparently I forgot some details, so I was a little bit surprised by a lot of the things that happened by the end of it. So I really liked my reading experience. I also felt like the writing improved in this book. I'm not really too sure if there was editing done. I, however, did feel like the romance did get a bit cringy when they got together. I liked the yearning and pining in the beginning of the book, and I like that it was a slow burn, but then when they got together, I don't know what happened. I felt like the relationship got a little bit cringy. But I did like the world. I really want to get to know more about the other kingdoms, because we have 12 kingdoms. I really want to read the second book so bad. And overall, I enjoyed this book, so it was a 4-star read. I just thought that the romance did feel a bit cringy. Another recent read, Every Spiral of Fate by Tera Mafi. I will have a reading vlog on this uploaded after this wrap up because it's not out yet. I'm currently still on the process of filming that reading vlog. I did read the 4th book of the Woven Kingdom series. It just came out last month. I really enjoyed this book. It was a 4-star read. Now, I have to say, this book did feel like a filler book, but for some reason, I enjoyed this book so much. I don't know what was going on. Plot-wise, it went round and round. We really did not get any movement in terms of the plot until the last, I want to say, 100 pages. So because of that, I'm giving this 4 stars, but our male main character Cyrus in this book, the yearning in this book, if you love yearning, you will love this book. This is also YA, so if you don't like spice, you will love this book. I think this is honestly my favorite YA fantasy series so far. It's just so fun and such an easy read. Like, it flies by. The pacing is so quick. Also, did not talk about the plot of this book. The first book of this is this Woven Kingdom, and you're following Alize, who is the princess of the Jinn Kingdom. In this world, there are 2 different kingdoms. One is Jinn and one is Clay. The Clay Kingdom are humans, and Alize is the long-lost princess of the Jinn Kingdom. She is currently in hiding in the Clay Kingdom. The Jinns, they are kind of like mutated humans. They have magical powers. They don't really need to eat to survive. They just need to drink water, and they're being killed because they are dangerous. But she lives in hiding in the Clay Kingdom, and one day she ends up meeting the prince of the Clay Kingdom, who is Cameron. The camera was kind of overheating just now, so I had to take a break. I enjoyed this regardless of it feeling like a filler book. Because I love them, I don't mind reading about them, even though it's a very filler book in terms of plot. So yes, I did enjoy this. Moving on, I have A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. This is also a new romance. I'm not really too sure when it was released, but I did recently buy this book. You're following Vasily, who is a dancer in King Alien's court. She was framed for murder, and she has been in prison for 2 years, but she ends up getting called one day by King Alien for her to pretend to be a dancer and spy on his enemies in this gathering that happens every year. Essentially, he will grant her freedom, so she does this for him. She goes to the gathering, helps get information for him, but then she ends up getting tangled up in other things that is very interesting. This book is not really much about like magic or world building. It's really more about court politics. There's a lot of courts, a lot of kingdoms, a lot of secrecy, a lot of spying involved, a lot of like hidden motives, and it was so fun. I love the secrecy. I love the mysteriousness. I was trying to guess what was actually going on or what the entire plot was about to be, but honestly, I got everything wrong. And I did like that we were only on the outskirts. We didn't really get into the central point until about halfway through this book. Then you really see the excitement really build. I love the writing. I love that there is a chronic illness rep because Vasily kind of has pain in her muscles, in her body. However, I think I would have preferred to see a lot more of the chronic illness incorporate into maybe her dancing or her relationships with other people, because a lot of the times it's just only mentioned when she was individually on her own. Also, there are some weird sounds, so I'm going to turn on the noise canceling of my mic. Other than that, I really like this book. The end got me, and I really want to read the second book. There was a really bad cliffhanger in this one, and I really liked it. It was really fast paced, and I did enjoy getting to know our characters, and I want to get to know more. I love our male main character. I hope to see him a lot more. There's also a little bit of secrecy as to who our male main character is, and I love that. It was just so fun. So yeah, Dance of Lies, really enjoyed this. We're gonna move on to 5-star reads. I have 4 5-star books this month. Yeah, I know. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. It was just such a good reading month in October. Fourth favorite of mine is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This was recently released this month. It is the continuation of Bride. I do recommend reading Bride first because it will make more sense to read Bride than Mate. Mate is about Serena and Cohen. Serena is a half human, half wolf hybrid. Cohen is an alpha of a werewolf clan. They are mates, but they don't really want to solidify the bond. Serena finds out that there's something wrong with her, and there's also someone who wants to kill her. She ends up getting protected by Cohen. After the halfway mark, this book ended up really spicy, but I really like, I guess you could say, world building. And I also really like getting to know Serena as a character because you get to see a lot of her in Bride, but you don't really know who she is and what pushes her as a character. And I think Serena really resembles me in a sense where she doesn't really fit in anywhere. She's not really a human, and she's not really a werewolf. And she also feels like she needs to hide a part of herself in order to satisfy other people. I also love Cohen, who is very self-sacrificial, just cares about other people, but not really himself. And I love these two characters getting together. I think Ali Hazelwood did a good job with connecting the romance with the spice, with the politics, with the character growth. This book did bring up a lot of nostalgia for me as somebody who read a lot of werewolf books when she was like 16, 17 years old. And I really liked that it cured my teenage self. So I did love this book. It is not my ultimate favorite. It's not like the best Ali Hazelwood book, but I did really like this. So I'm going to rate it 5 stars. Moving on to top 3. Our top third is Nightshade by Autumn Woods. This book caught me by surprise, guys. This book was so good. This is, I guess you would say, a dark academia mystery murder. You're following Ophelia Winters, and she wants revenge on the death of her parents that happened in Sorosong University. And so she goes there for school. She meets Alex Corbois Green, who is the son of the owner of the helicopter, and she never really envisioned having a relationship with Alex, but then they end up striking a friendship when Ophelia realizes that she has a stalker in the school that is also related to her parents' death. Things spiral from there. There was no part of this book where I was bored at all, and the romance in this book was just done so brilliantly. One thing I love about some books is when there's just these tiny little details that end up playing a role in either growing the relationship or growing the plot. And in this book, it's crossword puzzles. Our main character, Ophelia, she likes doing crossword puzzles. She feels like she's able to not think about anything else. And so Alex plays along with her love for crosswords. There was one where he was saying down 7 letters, I am tired and I want her for breakfast or dinner or something like that, and it's supposed to be her name, Ophelia. And I think it's a very fun way to spice up the relationship, to make it a little bit different. They also like to share emails, and the title of the emails are really funny. The content of the emails are also really funny. They should stop making our female main character love to read books. They should do something like this. It's so interesting. I love the murder mystery. It was predictable. I did guess the villain. As soon as he appeared on the page, I was like, this is the guy. And I was correct. But I thought the tension buildup was done really well, even though I did know the ending. And I did like the ending. It was a really good cliffhanger. And I want to read the second book, which is coming out July 2026. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I love it. 5 freaking brilliant stars. The quotes in this book were amazing. Nobody will be surprised by this. I have talked so long and dense about my feelings of this book in that reading vlog. This is a fantasy standalone, a dark fantasy standalone that was taken from a Dramini fanfic called Manacled. Now, do you need to read Manacled? The answer is no. There is literally no need to read that fanfic at all. It's a book on its own, has its own world building, has its own fantasy world, has its own magic, has its own characters. So you don't need any prior knowledge at all. Going into this, I think for the most part, people think it's a romance, but it's actually not really a romance. It's really a story about war and the people in this world, the politics, the religion, the understanding that good people are not always entirely good, and people in power will always have greed. Oh, sorry, I forgot to explain the plot of this book, but essentially we're following Helena, who is a member of the resistance. In the beginning of the book, when she wakes up, she realizes that she forgot her memory for the past like 2 years. But when she wakes up, the resistance has lost. The necromancers are winning, and she is now held hostage, a prisoner. However, she lost her memories, and the necromancers, they want to know what she's hiding. So she ends up getting sent to a guy called Cain Farron, who is the High Reeve, and they want him to crack the code in her head. So that's really all that you need to know about this book. The world building, yes, is a little bit difficult to get into when you first start reading, because there's just so much going on, and it's so unique. The magic in this, I've never read a book like this before. It's a very unique magic system. But if you get into it and you like take your time reading it, I promise you it's not difficult. If you look behind the romance and the love between Helena and Cain, you'll realize that this book just had a lot more, and the reason why it hurts and why it's so painful is because this is really set in reality. There really isn't much I can say except for the fact that you need to give it a chance. I'm unable to articulate the book and what it really means to me very well, but just know that it's a beautiful book and it's written very well, and it is a standalone. You need to read manacled, and it's not a fun time, but it's a very eye-opening and thought-provoking book, so I do recommend reading it. The best book of October for me is City of Lies and Legends by Kayla Edwards. This is the third book of the House of Devil series, and this is a god tier series for me, so honestly, this wasn't actually a big surprise. First book is City of Gods and Monsters, and also this got recently picked up by a trad pub, and I think it's getting re-released this month. But basically, the first book, City of Gods and Monsters, you're following Loren, who is a human living in Angelthine. It's basically a world infested with paranormal creatures. There's witches, there's werewolves, there's vampires, there's a lot of different things. There's demons. However, one day, something happens to Loren where she ends up getting targeted and was about to be captured by a group of Hellsayers. Hellsayers are basically people who can see aura, but then they also can like fight with their aura. But her friend ends up getting caught in her stead, and so she wants to save her friend. She enlists the help of Darren Castle, who is a dark slayer, and a dark slayer in this world, they're basically like hitmen. You can pay them to track down like demons or even people. Darian wants to save Loren because he feels like she is just an innocent human, and so he helps her. The world building is really done very well. There's really no plot holes in this book. Every single question you have about the world is going to be answered somewhat somehow, maybe in like the second or third books, but basically it's a really well fleshed out world, well fleshed out characters as well. There are so many POVs in this book, and you don't feel bored at all by either of these POVs. You want so much for them, and you get so emotionally attached that it's really dangerous, because then you realize that they are not real and they're just fake characters in a book. But I love this story so much. Our characters have grown so much by the third book, and you get introduced to new characters in this book, and you also fall in love with them. That is just what I love about books. The found family, diving into a different world than your own and falling in love with that world, and realizing that this book has just so much more than what was said in the first book. The world has grown so much in this one, and I just feel like Kayla Edwards did an amazing job with building this entire series. So I recommend this so much. A god tier series for me. I love it. I'm excited to pick up book 4, and that is my favorite book of October. But with that being said, we are done with my October wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and let me know what your favorite book that you read in October is, because I would love to know. I would love to add them to my TBR. I am currently on a book buying bando, so maybe next year I'll buy those books. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me yap about these books, and I will see you guys in the next one.